What's good, YouTube? Dorsey Made Gaming, y'all. And today, I want to talk about Dragon Ball and the games for Dragon Ball, the Dragon Ball franchise. That includes Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, and now Dragon Ball Super. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this, and this is not taking shots at Rhyme Style or anything like that, but he made some comments. He was talking about the game a lot and things like that, saying the good, the bad, the ugly, basically. But one comment that he said kind of struck me in a bad way, and that was he was talking about the story mode and that how bad the story is in story mode. Now, I didn't quite like this because Ramstar has a huge following. He has a ton of subscribers, including me myself. And the reason why I didn't like it is because you have to be careful with that kind of influence, because there's people who literally will cling to every word that Rom says. And if he says story sucks and arcade mode shouldn't be in the game, because he did have some complaints about arcade mode just because of the difficulty. I don't know if he was just being serious or if he was just, how gamers we get. We love the challenge, but we hate it at the same time, kind of thing. But there are some people that'll see that and they'll be like, well, I'm not getting this game. Rom says it sucks, or Rom says the story sucks in it. That you have to be careful with that. Like I don't, I appreciate him being honest, but here's the thing that people have to realize. That's his opinion, because there are going to be some people who will see that and say, well, I'm not getting the game because Rom says it sucks or whatever. For those people, I'm telling you, go ahead and get the game. You may like the story. And then on top of that, it's a fighting game. Nobody really buys fighting games for the story. I'm not buying Dragon Ball Fighterz for the story. If I wanted a story, I would buy a game like Xenoverse, First Limit, Rage and Blast, something like, well, not Rage and Blast didn't really have a story, but you get what I'm saying. I would buy a simulation style game rather than a fighting game. Dragon Ball Fighterz is exactly that, a fighting game. But that led me to make this video today to talk about that. Story modes in Dragon Ball games. Now, this isn't counting Dragon Ball Fighterz because Dragon Ball Fighterz is just that. It is a fighter. However, reliving some of the stuff that's in this game that they've taken from the anime, I miss it. I miss playing through the sagas in Dragon Ball universe. And I was talking to my friend at work the other day, and I would really like to see them do a new game that goes through all the sagas. I mean, let's be real. It would be a perfect world, I guess, if we had a game where you could do the 2D fighting of Dragon Ball Fighterz, but have the story mode element of playing through all the sagas, So basically, stick to the anime, because I'm not a fan of Xenoverse's story mode. At first it was interesting, but there's so many plot holes and so many things to be desired. And let's be real, in the actual Dragon Ball anime, there are a lot also, but there's so many episodes. There's not many plot holes. There's not many things left to be explained. There are some things, yes, but not near as many. And whenever you branch off into a new kind of story mode, you have to do it well. You have to be sure to cover your P's and Q's. Otherwise, you leave a story that's lacking. Like with Tora and Mira, in Xenoverse 1, the story was lacking. And then in Xenoverse 2, to me, it was just a rewash. It didn't seem very well put together. It didn't seem like they took their time to make an actual good story. And I think largely in part because we were spoiled by the actual anime itself. If you look at the Naruto series, they actually play through the anime, and it's really fun. It's really interesting, really engaging. I know a lot of people like Xenoverse because it was a breath of fresh air, and I admit it. Xenoverse 1 was a breath of fresh air, having a completely different story. But if that story is not done right, then it leaves a lot to be desired. So now with this new update in Xenoverse 2, DLC Pack 6, they have that's what's his name, Lou. I can't remember, y'all. It's supposed to be I want to say Toei Mira's son or something like that, but it's out of Dragon. Basically, what Xenoverse doing is pulling stuff out of Dragon Ball Heroes right now, and I'm just like I would just really like to play through the entire sagas again. Can you imagine a game like Xenoverse where instead of it being Xenoverse, it's just Dragon Ball and you playing through. I mean, even starting from Dragon Ball, I would even like that. Start from Dragon Ball and play all the way through Super like that. That would be a very long game. And that's the type of game that I would like to see. And I know people are going to say, well, they wouldn't be able to put all that into the game. Well, you could put so much of it in there and then just do the rest with like DLC content or something like that. You know, I don't know. But I really do miss the old school, just let's play the through the sagas again. And I think it's time for something like that. I think it's time for someone to come out with a game that's going to take us through the sagas again and include Super and Dragon Ball in that. And then maybe have some what ifs or some DLC stuff for like GT, since GT isn't technically canon, but we're not going to argue about that. But, you know, especially seeing Dragon Ball Fighterz and how well Arc Systems has done the animation in the game, how well Arc Systems has done, you know, they kept true to the series. I told my friend the other day, I said, it looks like, you know, whenever you used to turn on the Dragon Ball games and you see the computer generated animations of the intro, and then you get in the game and the game looks nothing like that. With Dragon Ball Fighterz, it's the opposite. What you see, what you would normally see in the intro is what the actual game looks like, and it's awesome with the cutscenes and everything. Is beautiful, man. It adds to the immersion, it adds to the excitement of the game, and it would be cool to see something like that while playing through the sagas. I really like it. I really, you know. Now for the story, I hadn't played it yet, but I am going into it, you know, non-biased. Like I'm not going into it listening at what Rom said that it sucks or anything like that. I've learned through my life that if you pay attention to what other people say, you can miss out on a lot. How many movies have you guys seen that people was like, oh, that movie sucked, and it was one of the best movies you've ever seen, or something like that? Or, you know, some games like Alpha Protocol, y'all probably don't even know what that game is. Some people will tell you, what game is that on you? But I'm telling you, if you played it, you'd love it. It's one of the best games on PlayStation 3. And it's very old, but I digress. But I would like to know what y'all would think. Let me know down in the comment section down below. What would you like to see? Would you like to see a game that goes back through the sagas while having the multiplayer aspect being just like that of Fighterz? Or would you like to see a game that goes through the sagas with the multiplayer aspect being that of Xenoverse 2? Let me know down in the comment section down below, y'all. Thanks for listening. Till next time, and God bless.